snacks from the 80s were so irresistible that one CEO even requested to be buried in his snack pack. Sounds unbelievable, right? This raised a lot of questions, like, were the snacks really that amazing? Or was the packaging just that enormous? Well, in this video, we would answer that question. In this video, we will talk about popular snacks from the 80s period and how they brought joy to everyone. But before we start the video, did you know that Coca-Cola launched a product in the 80s that lasted only 77 days on the market? Just 77 days! In this video, we'll dive into one of the flopped snacks because it strayed too far from the original concept that was liked in the 80s. Now, let's take a trip back to the 80s snack aisle to relive those unforgettable, sometimes questionable treats that made our childhood so deliciously fun. Sweet treats that stole our hearts. If you had a sweet tooth back then, and let's be honest, who didn't? These were the snacks you couldn't resist, and this snack was the king of it. Pop Rocks. Remember Pop Rocks? This candy was unlike any other. It sent rockets into your taste buds. When those tiny crystals met your tongue, you felt instantly happy, as though your mouth were planning an unannounced party. Tear open the packet, pour them in, and then smile like a kid as you watch them pop, crackle, and snap. It was not simply the taste that made them unique. It was the whole experience. The sweet treat gave the impression of popping in your mouth, giving you a lovely, tiny explosion. Every time you reached for a pack, it was like you were about to take part in some epic fizzy experiment. And as if that wasn't enough to make them unforgettable, there was that wild rumor going around that if you dared to eat Pop Rocks and drink soda at the same time, your stomach would explode. Total nonsense, obviously, but that didn't stop us from daring each other to try it, just to see if something crazy would happen. Well, all this fun and sweetness would come to an end in 1983, as they could not continue production because of its short shelf life. But as they were closing, another big snack came into town. It was Fruit Roll-Up, and man was this different. Fruit Roll-Up, the ultimate snack and edible art. Who knew that playing with your food could be so much fun? You could peel them off the plastic in all sorts of shapes, wrap them around your fingers, and turn snack time into a mini craft session. They were advertised as fruit, but honestly, they had about as much fruit as a candy bar. But hey, who cared? They were colorful, sticky, and delicious. Another snack that was colorful and delicious in this era is one that is still being produced, but with a different name. You know M&M's? Well, the old schoolers would remember that there was M&M back in the 80s. It was called Skittles, and this was lovely. Skittles. Those little rainbow-colored candies that let you taste the rainbow. Each bite was like a burst of fruity goodness, and you'd always have a favorite flavor. But did you know that all Skittles taste the same? Yup, it turns out that the colors and scents are what trick our brains into thinking we're tasting different flavors. Mind-blowing, right? Whether or not you knew that Skittles were a go-to snack, perfect for sharing and, if we're being honest, for hoarding all to yourself? So, from candies that fizzed in your mouth to colorful treats that fooled your taste buds, the 80s snack game wasn't just about sweets, it was also about those savory, salty, and downright addictive snacks that kept our fingers busy and our taste buds satisfied. Salty snacks. First up, we've got to talk about Doritos. Doritos are a snack food that needs no introduction. The chip that defined snack time in the 80s. You'd pop open a bag, and that cheesy, tangy smell would hit you like a wave of nostalgia. The best part? Getting your fingers all orange from the cheesy dust and then licking it off. And don't even pretend like you didn't do it. Most people did not know the original Doritos weren't even flavored. However, in 1986, one flavor, which combined the most robust salad dressing with the crunchiest tortilla chip, put this chip company on the map. Once you started eating them, there was no stopping until you hit the bottom of the bag. And even then, you'd probably tip the bag to get every crumb. Next, do you remember Planters cheese balls? You know, those bright orange, perfectly round puffs of cheesy goodness that came in that iconic blue canister. Opening one of those cans was like opening a treasure chest of pure joy. And the best part? They were the perfect size for popping into your mouth one after the other. But cheese balls were discontinued in the early 2000s, and it wasn't until the public practically begged Planters that they finally made a comeback. It's like the snack gods heard our cries and brought back this 80s classic. Honestly, nothing hits quite like that cheesy crunch. And who could forget Pringles? The chip in that super cool tube made it the most portable snack of the 80s. I mean, stacking chips in a can was pretty revolutionary. And the best part? They were all perfectly shaped, so you could fit a whole stack in your mouth if you were feeling ambitious. They were not a hit right away, as they were created in the 1960s and were called a flop but became a household name in the 80s. Pringles had this addictive quality that made it impossible to eat just one, and that pop sound when you open the can, pure satisfaction. The Pringles can be so iconic that when the inventor of Pringles passed away, he had his ashes buried in one of those very cans. Now that's some serious commitment to a snack. After all those unforgettable snacks, you've probably worked up quite a thirst, right? Well, let's get you something to drink from the 80s. But even in the 80s, the drinks were as wild and quirky as the snacks. Some were good while others were disastrous, and one of them is this: New Coke. Remember this? One of the most controversial drinks of the 80s. New Coke. Now, if you weren't around for the drama, let me paint the picture. Coca-Cola decided to mess with perfection and introduced a new formula, calling it New Coke. The idea was to create a sweeter, smoother version of the Diet Coke, released 3 years before to compete with Pepsi. But instead of winning over fans, it sparked a massive backlash. People were outraged, like full-on protests and petitions to bring back the original Coke. The new Coke was such a disaster that it only lasted 77 days before they brought back the original formula, rebranded as Coca-Cola Classic. It's like they tried to reinvent the wheel, only to realize that the old one was already perfect. And unlike this that was a disaster, the next drink was a massive success in the market. High C Ecto Cooler. If you were a kid in the 80s, you probably remember the Ghostbusters craze, and this drink was right at the heart of it. It was a neon green, citrus-flavored juice box with Slimer, the ghost from Ghostbusters, on the packaging. Not only was it deliciously sweet, but it was also a status symbol at lunch. You were the cool kid if you had Ecto Cooler in your lunchbox. The best part? It stuck around well beyond the 80s because it was just that popular. Ecto Cooler was so beloved that when they brought it back in 2016 for the Ghostbusters reboot, adults were just as excited as the kids. Our next drink was a direct competitor with Fanta and is still the most popular drink in the United States. You probably don't remember, but let me give you a hint. It starts with sun. Well, if you can't remember, check this out. Sunkist. Sunkist Soda, the bright orange drink that brought a burst of citrusy sunshine to every 80s gathering. Sunkist wasn't just your typical orange soda. It was packed with a punch of flavor that made it stand out. It was the perfect mix of sweet and tangy. And the best part, it was caffeinated. Yep, Sunkist was one of the few orange sodas with a kick of caffeine, making it the go-to drink for those looking for a bit of a buzz. Whether you were chilling at the pool or grabbing a drink with friends, Sunkist was like sunshine in a can. So, if you need to taste a little bit of the 80s, you can get this drink. Welsh Grape Juice. Well, our next drink was made popular by a child actress. Remember this girl? Well, for those who don't, she is the girl in the Welsh commercial video, Welch's Grape Juice, the drink that brought a taste of the vineyard to every 80s household. Welch's wasn't just any grape juice. It was rich, sweet, and bursting with that unmistakable grape flavor. You could pour it over ice, drink it straight from the fridge, or even freeze it into popsicles for a cool treat on a hot day. But here's the kicker. Welch's Grape Juice was marketed as a health drink, full of antioxidants and vitamins, long before that was even a thing. So not only did it taste great, but it also made you feel like you were doing something good for your body. Plus, who could resist that deep purple color? It was like drinking liquid nostalgia. So, from the snacks that filled our lunchboxes to the drink that fueled our wildest sugar highs, the 80s were a golden age of fun, quirky, and sometimes downright strange treats. What were your best snacks in this period? Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe and like our video. You can also watch our last video on what boomers remember from the good old days.